Imagine walking into a world where the sun never sets, the drinks are always flowing, and every sound is a celebration. You see a sea of flashing lights and towering screens, each one promising a life-changing jackpot. But behind the neon glow, there are eyes watching you. Eyes that know exactly which machines are built to feed your dreams and which ones are designed to starve your wallet. Ivy spent over a decade working behind the scenes of some of the biggest casinos in the country, and I've seen the side of the industry they never want you to witness. We call them the money eaters. They are the machines that look the most inviting but have been mathematically tuned to ensure you leave with nothing. Today, I'm breaking the code of silence. I'm revealing the psychological traps, the tight machine myths, and the three specific types of slots that ex-workers like me would never put a single penny into. If you want to stop being the casino's favorite customer and start playing with an insider's edge, pay close attention. The house always wins, but you don't have to be the one paying for the lights. 1. The vibrancy trap. Imagine stepping through those sliding glass doors. The air is cool, the scent of expensive perfume hits you, and before you even reach the cashier, your eyes are locked on them. The giants. The machines that look more like high-definition movie screens than gambling devices. They're loud, they're beautiful, and they're designed to be your first and last stop of the night. I spent years walking these floors in a crisp vest, watching thousands of players make the same fatal mistake within minutes of arriving. Most people think a machine that looks premium must have a premium payout. But here's the secret. Those flashy, licensed slots, the ones themed after your favorite blockbuster movies or hit TV shows, are often the tightest machines in the building. The casino pays massive licensing fees just to have that brand on the floor. To turn a profit, they have to claw that money back from the players. I once watched a regular spend 6 hours on a brand new superhero-themed machine. It had amazing 4D graphics and a vibrating chair. He was immersed, but his credits were disappearing faster than a Hollywood budget. Meanwhile, an old 3-reel cherry machine 20 feet away was quietly paying out consistent wins to a woman who didn't even have a padded seat. Look past the Hollywood lights. If a machine looks like it cost $1 million to build, it probably needs your entire bankroll just to break even. But as bad as the branding trap is, there's a specific spot on the floor we call the dead zone. Have you ever noticed a row of machines that everyone seems to ignore? There's a reason for that. 2. The dead zone. Walking through the floor, you might notice clusters of machines tucked away in dark corners or right next to the high-traffic bathroom entrances. We call these the dead zones. Most players think these machines are due because nobody is playing them. They imagine the casino has hidden a loose machine in the back to reward the explorers. As an ex-worker, I can tell you the opposite is almost always true. The floor layout is a masterpiece of psychological warfare. Stay away from machines in transit areas or tucked-away corners. If the casino isn't trying to show off the wins in that area, the machine probably isn't winning. But location is only half the battle. What about those massive, life-changing numbers spinning at the top of the room? The progressives are the biggest draw on the floor, but they hold a secret that can drain you in minutes. 3. The progressive pitfall. You see that number climbing into the millions. It's glowing, pulsing, and it seems like it's just one spin away from changing your family's future forever. Those wide-area progressive slots are the sirens of the casino floor. They call to you from across the room, but for most players, they lead straight to a wreck. Here's what the casino won't tell you. A portion of every single bet you make on those machines goes directly toward building that giant jackpot. That means the base game, the regular spins you redoing while waiting for the big one, is mathematically much tighter than a standard machine. You're essentially paying a jackpot tax on every pull. I've watched countless players spend their entire weekend bankroll on a giant progressive, never even seeing a small bonus round because the machine is hoarding every cent for a jackpot that might not hit for another year. I knew a regular who spent 5 years chasing a specific mega win. He could have bought a house with what he fed that machine, but he ended up with nothing but a player's club card full of points. If you want to play progressives, set a small dream budget and move on. Never treat them as your main game, or the tax will eat your bankroll alive. Speaking of bankrolls, have you ever wondered why penny slots are the most popular machines in the building? It sounds cheap, but the math tells a much more expensive story. 4. The penny slot paradox. The term penny slot is the most successful marketing lie in the history of gambling. You sit down thinking you're playing for pennies, but look at the button panel. To actually have a decent chance at winning or triggering a bonus, you usually have to bet max or play all lines. Suddenly, that 1 cent spin becomes a 3, 5, or even $10 bet. In my time on the floor, I saw more people go broke on penny machines than in the high-limit room. Because the denomination is so low, players lose their sense of unit value. They spend $3 a pull on a penny machine, but would be terrified to bet $5 on a blackjack table. The house edge on penny machines is also significantly higher than on dollar or $5 machines. The casino knows that if you're playing for pennies, you'll play longer and faster, allowing the math to grind you down. I remember a woman who was so excited about her 1,000 credit win, not realizing those 1,000 credits were only $10, and she'd spent 50 to get them. Check the total bet amount, not the denomination. Often, playing a single line on a dollar machine is looser and cheaper than max betting a penny machine. But why does it feel like you're always just one symbol away? That near miss isn't bad luck. It's a calculated feature. 5. The near miss mirage. We've all been there. You need 3 bonus symbols. 2 land perfectly, and the third one stops just a hair above the line. Your heart jumps, your adrenaline spikes, and you think, it's so close. The next one has to be it. In the industry, we call this the near-miss effect, and it's one of the most powerful psychological hooks in the casino. Ex-workers know that the reels you see on the screen are just a visual representation of a random number generator, RNG. The moment you hit the button, the result is already decided. The machine chooses to show you a near miss because it triggers the same dopamine response in your brain as a win. It tricks your brain into thinking you relearning the machine or that it's getting hot. I once watched a programmer testing a machine where the near misses were programmed to happen 30% more often than a win. It kept people in their seats longer than any other feature. It's not almost a win, it's a loss dressed in a tuxedo. Don't let your emotions track the symbols. A miss by an inch is the same as a miss by a mile. If a machine gives you constant near misses without a payout, walk away. And if you're looking for where the actual wins happen, you have to understand the concept of the social payout. 6. The social payout. If you want to find the loose machines, don't look for the quiet corners. Look for the crossroads. These are the machines located at the ends of high-traffic rows or near the main walkways. We place higher-paying machines here for a very specific reason. We want other people to see and hear you winning. When a machine at the end of an aisle hits a jackpot, the bells go off and the lights flash right where everyone entering the casino can see it. It creates a winning atmosphere. It's an advertisement that says, "Look, people are winning here." I used to see a specific row of machines near the main bar that we kept at a higher RTP because the cheers from those winners would encourage people at the bar to finish their drinks and start gambling. On the flip side, the machines in the middle of a long, cramped row are often the tightest because no one can see the person winning there anyway. Play the end caps. Machines on the ends of rows are strategically placed to be louder and more visible, which often means they're set to pay out more frequently. But what about the machines that let you play everything? The multi-game consoles seem like a great value, but they're often a trap for the undecided. 7. The multi-game trap. You've seen them, the machines where you can switch between video poker, Keno, and various slots. They seem convenient, especially if you're playing with a friend. But ex-casino workers will tell you that these machines are often the jacks of all trades, masters of none. Because these machines have to store so much software, the payout percentages are often set to the lowest common denominator. The video poker on a multi-game machine almost always has a worse pay table than a dedicated, standalone video poker machine. Always play dedicated machines. If you want poker, find a poker machine. If you want slots, find a slot. Multi-game consoles are a convenience tax you don't need to pay. Have you ever noticed how some machines are almost blindingly bright, while others are dim and quiet? It's not just an aesthetic choice. 8. The sensory overload. The loudest, brightest machines on the floor are usually the ones that pay out the least. It sounds counterintuitive, but the sensory overload machines are designed to distract you from the math. High-intensity music, flashing LED towers, and vibrating seats are all tools to keep you in a trance state. When you're in the trance, you lose track of time and, more importantly, you lose track of how much you're spending. I used to watch players sit at these party machines for hours, nodding their heads to the music while their credits trickled down to zero. They didn't even realize they had hit a win in 50 spins because the machine was making winning sounds, even on losing spins, something we called WSWLS, winning sounds on losing spins. The machine plays a celebratory chime when you bet $3 and win $1.25. Your brain hears a win, but your wallet sees a loss. If a machine is making a lot of noise for a win that is less than your original bet, it's trying to trick your brain. Mute the machine or move to one that is more honest with its feedback. But what happens when a brand new machine arrives on the floor? There's a honeymoon phase that most players completely miss. 9. The honeymoon phase. When a casino gets a shipment of brand new machines, they want them to be a hit. No manager wants to see a $20,000 investment sitting empty. To ensure the new games gain a following, we sometimes set the RTP slightly higher during the first few weeks. We want the word of mouth to spread that the new Buffalo or Dragon game is hot. I remember when we installed a new series of curved screen slots. For the first month, people were hitting bonuses left and right. The excitement was infectious. Once the honeymoon was over and the machine had a dedicated fan base, we'd dial the settings back to the house standard. Most players would keep playing, chasing the memory of that first week, not realizing the machine had cooled down by design. Look for the new game signs. Play them for the first week or two, but the moment the bonuses start feeling rare, move on. The honeymoon is over. Speaking of moving on, there's a big myth about max betting. Does it really help you win, or is it just a way to lose faster? 10. The max bet myth. You have to bet max to win. We've heard it 1,000 times. And on old mechanical three-reel machines, it was often true. The top jackpot was only available if you played the third coin. But on modern video slots, the max bet button is often a trap. Modern machines use a weighted payout. Betting more doesn't usually change the odds of the symbols landing. It just multiplies the payout. If you're betting $10 a spin on a machine with a 10% house edge, you're losing $1 an average spin. If you bet $1, you're losing 10 cents. I've seen people max betting away their mortgage money because they thought the machine would stay cold if they bet small. The machine doesn't care what you bet. The RNG is the same. The only thing max betting does on most modern games is get you to your limit faster. Read the pay table. If there isn't a specific max bet bonus or a progressive jackpot tied to the top bet, there's no mathematical reason to over-leverage your bankroll. But sometimes, it's not about what you're betting, but who is watching. Your loyalty card is doing more than just earning you a free buffet. 11. The card trap. The casino's greatest tool isn't the slot machine. It's your player's club card. I used to work in the back office where we looked at the theoretical loss data. The moment you slide that card in, we know exactly how you play, how long you stay, and what your pain threshold is. We use this data to send you free play, offers that are timed perfectly to when you're most likely to return. But there's a darker side. Some players believe the casino turns off a machine if they see a carded player winning too much. While we can't remotely change a machine's RTP on the fly like that, we do use the data to identify value players. If you're a smart player who only plays loose machines, you might find your offers drying up. The casino wants gamblers, not players. I've seen hosts steer big spenders toward the tightest machines in the room. Because the data showed they didn't care about the odds, they just liked the lights. Use the card for the perks, but don't let the points dictate your play. If a machine is cold, walk away, regardless of how many points you're earning. Where you walk to next is just as important. Have you ever noticed where the ATMs are located? 12. The ATM magnet. The placement of ATMs is the most calculated move on the floor. You'll notice they are never in the quiet areas. They are usually surrounded by some of the most aggressive, high-volatility machines in the casino. Why? Because when you're walking back from that ATM with a fresh stack of chasing money, your emotions are at their peak. You're frustrated, you're determined to get back to even, and the machines right next to the cash source are designed to capture that tilt energy. These are often high-denomination, high-volatility games that can eat that fresh withdrawal in 5 minutes. I once watched a man go to the ATM 3 times in an hour, and each time, he sat down at the very first machine he saw on his way back. He never made it back to the machine he originally liked. If you have to go to the ATM, take a 10-minute cool down, walk outside first. Never play the magnet machines within 20 feet of a cash machine. Which brings us to the high-limit room. Is it a playground for the rich, or just a more expensive trap? 13. The high-limit illusion. People walk past the high-limit room and see the velvet ropes and the private bars and think, that's where the real money is. And it's true. High-limit machines do have a higher RTP percentage. A $5 or $25 machine might be set to 95%, while the penny slots are at 88%. But here's the worker's secret. 95% of a $1.25 bet is a much bigger house take than 88% of a 50-cent bet. The volatility in the high-limit room is brutal. You can go 50 spins without hitting a single credit. I've seen high rollers lose $5,000 in 10 minutes without seeing a single cherry. The casino gives you better odds because they know the sheer size of the bets will eventually break most people's bankrolls before the math evens out. They trade a lower edge for a much higher velocity of money. Only enter the high-limit room if you have the bankroll to survive at least 100 spins without a win. If not, the better odds are just a faster way to go home. 14. The insider's final blueprint. After years of watching the gears turn from the inside, I've realized that the most successful players aren't the ones who find a magic machine. They're the ones who treat the casino like a theater, not a bank. The house always wins because the math is patient and humans are not. To play like an insider, you have to strip away the glamour. Avoid the dead zones, ignore the progressive sirens, and stay away from the sensory overload traps. Look for the simple machines on the end caps, stay consistent with your budget, and never, ever chase a near miss. The real secret that ex-workers know is that the exit is the most important part of the casino. The moment the fun stops, or the moment you're playing with money you can't afford to lose, the casino has already won. Use these tips to stretch your entertainment, enjoy the wins when they come, and walk away with your dignity and hopefully a bit of the house's money. Have you ever noticed any of these traps at your local casino? Drop a comment below and let's expose the money eaters together. Thanks for watching Casino Pro. Play smart, stay sharp, and I'll see you on the floor.